capitalism and its various parts are actively seeking to kill people on a daily basis. And sometimes it's viewed as benign, but it's junk food, it's processed food, it's alcohol, it's algorithms that are addictive. These companies are doing things that you can measure biologically, shorten lifespan, and decrease the quality of health span.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you. My name is Kim Kardashian.
Do you use any measuring, like a Whoop or a Ring or anything? Do you measure any?
Yeah, I track my sleep and I have my blood drawn every 3 or 4 months. But yeah, I do a lot of that stuff. I'm 83.
Okay. And how do you feel?
If I had your hair, I'd be Chancellor of Germany by now.
Oh.
You look great. How old are you?
I am turning 57 end of May.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm turning 60 in November.
Oh, congratulations.
Push-up contest?
Maybe running tomorrow morning.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. Same to you. Yeah. Enough compliments. Two guys on the stage making compliments to each other. Yeah. Okay, let's have a
Brian?
look. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I hope Brian is ready. We have a little teaser, a little trailer.
Great.
And then we try to connect live to
Okay,
Brian
great.
Johnson. Let's go.
I started Braintree when I was 27 years old. I bootstrapped the company for the first 4 years. And we were profitable every month. And then I raised money and we sold it for 800 million. And then I made 300 million. My objective with Blueprint is to demonstrate aging escape velocity, trying to do all the appropriate interventions to neutralize my aging process. We've designed a protocol for sleep and exercise and diet, and also 111 supplements. Demonstrating that age can be arrested would change everything.
So, oh, there he is. Huh?
Hello, Brian. Welcome to Hamburg.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Nice to see you.
We haven't met. My name's Scott Galloway, and I'm here to ask you questions in what feels like you're on trial in the future. But anyways, let's kick it off. I'm fascinated. I'd like you to make the distinction between kind of lifespan and health span. Are you really more focused on extending? When I hear something that says the mission is to not die, could you give us a balanced scorecard of what's more important to you in terms of living either a long life or living a healthy life? What does success look like with what you're undertaking?
I guess from the outside perspective, it may look like Blueprint is about diet and health and wellness and eating vegetables and exercising and getting good sleep. Really, it's a contemplation that we are on the eve of giving birth to superintelligence. And when you give birth to an intelligence that is far exceeding your abilities, it poses the question, what do we do as a species? And so I thought about this question deeply, and I wondered, what would the 25th century say about our time and place? When they look at the early 21st century and they compress our century to just 2 or 3 things. And my hypothesis is that they will say, that's when Homo sapiens figured out that death was no longer inevitable, that we could begin to extend our lifespans and health spans to unknown horizons. And that's what this entire project is about. It's a reimagination of what it means to be human.
So I guess my first question is that a good thing? Is there something to the natural order of having a rewarding life and recognizing that it does come to an end and that biology, I mean, so far the mortality rate is 100%. I'm just trying to think through the societal implications. We're already dealing with too many old people, and if that sounds ageist, I am ageist, and so is biology. But generally speaking, a lot of nations are going into decline because the ratio of young to old is out of whack. Are you concerned, or have you thought through the issues around what would happen if we were to be successful and people were to start living to 120 or 140 or 150?
Yeah. The way I like to think about this thought experiment is, I guess this question is to do a thought experiment. So imagine that we travel back in time 1 million years ago.
Yep.
And we're there with Homo erectus, and we have a chance to have a conversation. And we say, where's food, where's shelter, and where's danger? We're going to listen to their responses because they probably know. If we say, now, tell us about the future of our species, it's unlikely they're going to be able to articulate our modern day world, that you can take a little white pill and it cures an infection, or you can hold this magic box in front of you and speak with anyone, or about the magic of mathematical models building computational intelligence. And in this moment, I wonder if we are the equivalent of Homo erectus, that we, of course, want to think about these immediate questions as we map these near-term contemplations. But up against a wall of superintelligence, we may be just as naive and just as primitive as Homo erectus was. And it may be that we can say absolutely nothing about the future. The difference between our intelligence and that of superintelligence will be so sizable that we may no longer be the alpha intelligence determining what is right and what is wrong, what to do and what not to do. And so this contemplation, and I do this, Scott, I've been holding dinners at my house for the past 3 years, usually 10 to 12 of us. And I had this conversation for about 2.5 hours. But we walk through the future of being human, and it explores all the assumptions we maintain about reality and explores how all those may or may not continue to be true. And so these are big ideas. It takes time to digest. And so a lot of people, when they hear these things, it's a lot to take in for a very short period of time. So I just say that you kind of have to breathe through these ideas, because it invites rebuilding your understanding of existence from first principles, from zeroth principles.
So I should have, your teaser was great, but Brian is a hugely successful entrepreneur, sold his company for $800 million, and is a very intelligent person. And I think that a lot of people would want to glean observations from what is working and what isn't working for you, given that you're a little bit of an experiment, for lack of a better word. Could you stack rank from what has been most surprising to the upside to what has been the 2 or 3 things that, quite frankly, haven't panned out the way you'd hoped in terms of supplements or exercise or activities, understanding that most of the people here don't have $2 million a year to spend on this experiment? If you were to say, these are the 2 or 3 things that have surprised me to the upside and the downside, what would those things be?
Yeah, they're actually affordable for everyone. And so first, to give you some context on my biomarkers, when I started 4 years ago, I was in a pretty bad place. I had suffered from chronic depression for a decade, and that has all kinds of negative effects on the body. I also was a martyr for technological progress. I was a entrepreneur, and I didn't sleep. I didn't take care of myself. I just was the ragged, typical entrepreneur doing that. So my body was pretty trashed. And so now, if you look at my biomarkers, I'm aging slower than 99% of 20-year-olds. I'm in the top 1% for my cardiovascular ability, total bone mineral density, inflammation, muscle, fat, performance. I've achieved a top 1% in almost every category. And it boils down to 6 things that everyone can do that are affordable. So number 1 is don't smoke. That's the worst thing you can do for your health. Number 2 is 6 hours a week of exercise. It doesn't really matter what you do, just being active for that duration of time. 3 is a blueprint and/or Mediterranean-like diet. 4 is a BMI between 18.5 and 22.5. 5 is little to no alcohol, and 6 is sleep. If you do those 6 things, you can get a life expectancy of roughly 92 years.
Say more on the diet part of it.
So with Blueprint, I've open sourced my entire protocol. So I've spent millions of dollars on this project. My protocol is not expensive. It's actually really low cost. What's expensive is measurement. And also what's expensive is research. And so my team, we combed through every single scientific publication ever done, and we ranked them according to power laws, which are going to have the greatest effect. And then for the past few years, we've been working through those power laws. And so one of those things is diet, where we had this rule where every calorie must fight for its life. No calorie can be included that is cool or trendy or nice. It has to have a specific function in the body. If it doesn't do its job, it's out. And so all those recipes are on my website, but I'll tell you quickly what I eat. So for breakfast, I'll have broccoli, cauliflower, lentils, garlic, ginger, and hemp. My second meal of the day is macadamia nuts, walnuts, flaxseed, pomegranate juice, sunflower lecithin, and berries, and there's some pea protein. And then the third meal of the day are berries, nuts, and seeds. I'm vegan by choice, but you can eat meat. But my entire diet is on my website for free for everyone to access.
In terms of exercise, cardiovascular resistance training, any thoughts on what is especially effective in terms of longevity and health span?
Yeah, I work out 1 hour a day, and I try to flex and stretch every muscle of my body. So it's a combination of weightlifting, of cardiovascular, and then also stretching. But we measure the efficacy of doing this by my body fat and my muscle mass are in the top 1 percentile. And then same with my strength, same with my flexibility. So we use markers for everything. If we can't measure a given thing, we typically don't do it. So we really like the data.
You mentioned that you struggled with depression. Is there something specific? Obviously, a lot of people, this is a great awakening of kind of mental health concerns, which is a wonderful thing. What specifically distinctive, and I know the two are related, physical and mental health, but can you speak to specifically what you have found has been especially helpful in terms of your own mental health?
Yeah, getting the basics right has changed my conscious experience. So for example, sleep. If you can just adjust the way you think about sleep. We think about sleep right now as we will sleep when it's convenient. We'll sleep when we finish our show. We will sleep when I finish my work project. We will sleep when I finish my treat. And you can change your mindset and say you are a professional sleeper. That, if you show up to a meeting and you're 5 minutes late, you apologize to those in the meeting to say, I'm so sorry, guys, I'm 5 minutes late. But if you're 5 minutes late to your bedtime, you don't apologize to yourself. And so if you treat your bedtime like the most important meeting of the day and you're on time, you respect yourself. You show that respect. And so sleep, of course, is a pillar of our wellness. And I'd say sleep probably has more benefit from mental wellness than anything. And then you get sleep right, then you can exercise right, you get exercise right, you get diet. But I'd say for me, getting the basics right and be stable has been the most significant thing I've done for my mental wellness.
It seems as if, loosely speaking, across people who are talking a lot about health, including yourself, there's a bit of a war on alcohol, that there's sort of this general recognition that alcohol really is old technology and pretty damaging for you. What is your view on psychedelics, mushroom chocolates, and edibles with THC? Asking for a friend.
Yeah. We haven't completed our review on psychedelics. I know that the early data in the clinical trials are favorable for PTSD and depression. So we're following that very closely. My brain interface kernel is actually working on measuring neural outputs for those studies. So we're eagerly following that. And so we don't have a perspective from longevity yet, other than a great level of interest.
So the things I've read about this, and this may be the wrong source, but I think about the book Blue Zones and the people who tend to live a lot longer around the kind of a couple standard deviations out. Exercise or physical activity incorporated into their daily life, a Mediterranean diet. But the number one thing was how social they were. Have you thought about, or have you adjusted your own life and your own activities to try and engage more with other people? What role does socialization and other people play in your attempt to live longer?
Yes, I have. And I've tried to create a rule of how many people can walk into my house and open my cupboards and get something to eat without them even acknowledging I'm present. And if that level of familiarity is present, then I feel like I'm doing a good job, where it specifically says I don't need to formally set a time and place to meet somebody. They can just walk into my life, walk in and out. but I've tried to create a fluid world where people can socially come in. But yes, it's very important to me, and I've really tried very hard. As an adult, when you're busy and you're building things, work oftentimes gets a priority, and socialization becomes this narrow thing that needs to be timed in place, which limits sometimes the quality of it.
In the United States, despite all of the money we're spending on healthcare, we're actually seeing life expectancy go down because of the increase in deaths and despair. If the governments of Germany or the United States were to call you and say, what would you suggest we do if we were going to spend a little bit of money on young people under the age of 30 where you've seen deaths of despair skyrocket, what would those 2 or 3 suggestions be?
Yeah, I would go to war on die.
I'm sorry, repeat that, Brian?
I would go to war against die, the die economy. And it is that capitalism and its various parts are actively seeking to kill people on a daily basis. And sometimes it's viewed as benign, but it's junk food, it's processed food, it's alcohol, it's algorithms that are addictive. These companies are doing things that you can measure biologically, shorten lifespan, and decrease the quality of health span. And we treat this as normal. We accept this as normal. It's insanity. And the fact that we turn a blind eye in the name of capitalism is crazy. So I would try to say we are at a new time and place in the evolution of our species. Death is no longer inevitable. We are going to evolve ourselves. This could be the most extraordinary existence in this part of the galaxy, and we're not going to be foolish anymore in doing things that actively decrease and shorten our lifespan.
Do you have kids, Brian?
3.
And how has your research impacted your approach to parenting, fathering, being a good spouse?
Yeah, I grew up in a time and place in 1980s Utah in the US, where we ate sugar cereal for breakfast, we had soda at school. I was in the sun all the time with no sunscreen. Sleep was just kind of something no one really paid attention to. I grew up with really bad habits, a lot of processed food. This is like when food was being industrialized. And so I had a lot of really bad habits. My parents didn't know any better, just like most everyone else. And so with my children, I do pay very close attention to everything they do. They have adopted it to some degree. Like I have 3 kids, everyone's different, but my middle child is identically on Blueprint, just like me. And so to me, like, imagining that you're 18 years old in 2024, as we're evolving to become a new species, is just the most insane thing. It's like the most exciting thing ever. So I'm really happy. His friends, when we talk about this concept of what, like, he's currently studying at one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And he sent me a video the other day, and there are his classmates like eating junk food, staying up late, just trashing their health. Like some of the brightest minds in the world just totally disregard to their health. It's really a form of insanity that they're just following cultural norms. They're not really aware of it, but I really tried to make them aware that health is an investment that will pay off more than anything else you do in life.
And Brian, where's the best place as we wrap up? If people are interested and want to know more information and track your progress, where's the best place to find that information?
Yeah, I hang out on all the socials, YouTube, IG, Twitter. So I try to provide all the information for free. So you can do exactly what I do for free. I share my data, I share my protocol, I share all of it. And so I really genuinely am trying to help you be your best self. And I'm trying to turn this tide and to capture this moment that really we could be at the doorstep of the most extraordinary existence in this part of the galaxy. And if we can be sober enough to realize this moment, it could be ours to have.
Well, one, as we wrap up, we're obviously very interested and we're rooting for you. And 2, I would appreciate it if you would say hello to my great-grandchildren.
Hello,
Bad
great-grandchildren.
Bad joke.
No. Well, I'll say hi to them. I'll say I'm so happy that you're now observing us in the early 21st century. I hope you are very proud of us, where we realize the potential of the species, that we were able to overcome the traditions and cultural norms of our ancestors, and that we gave birth to something that you can now thrive in.
And realistically, give me the number if you were writing a policy for your own life insurance. Realistically, and you had to pick a number, what do you think you will live to?
Well, I mean, first, Scott, it's guaranteed I'm going to die young, and I'm going to die in the most ironic way possible, likely by getting hit by a bus, just because the universe speaks in irony. We all know that's true, so it's inevitable for me. Now, absent the irony striking, I don't see, when I look at the math behind the speed at which intelligence improves, I don't know why we'd have an expiration date. Minus some accidental event, it's not clear to me why we think there's a natural expiration date.
Brian, we appreciate your time. Let's give it up for Brian.